G'day, Chris Bowen again from EFTM, and what a pleasure I have for you today. Yet another luxury SUV, yet another SUV in an SUV crazed world. But this one, my friends, is an absolute ripper. It's the Audi SQ5. What is special about this particular model that I'm standing in front of? Well, it's the V6, brand new V6, single turbo, twin scroll, pumps out 260 kilowatts of power, 500 Newton meters of torque. It's good for the sprint 0 to 100 in 5.2 seconds, which is phenomenal for an SUV of this size. We've driven it before. Trevor, our resident tech nerd, has driven it in the A4. I've sampled it in the A5. Phenomenal. And in this application, it's entirely different experience, but we'll touch on that in just a moment. The remarkable thing about this particular performance model is its fuel efficiency, 8.7 litres per 100. Well, that's the claim figure. We have absolutely been hammering this vehicle, and I'm averaging 11, which is extraordinary for a unit that pumps out so much power in what is a fairly large SUV. Now, there's lots of different optional packages on offer, of course. You can get the Quattro Sport Differential, 2,950, which gives you that ability to really use the torque in the rear wheels to help you corner if you are a decent driver. It's a very handy package. Metallic paint, $1,846. That's a little bit excessive, I must say. You can get the Technic package, that's $1,500. Adds all sorts of different features that you'll enjoy, like LED headlights, Bang & Olufsen sound system, which is phenomenal, has 19 speakers, and a very good head-up display, although not quite in the same league as BMW. Now, from behind the wheel, this is very typical of Audi's latest generation of vehicles. Phenomenal interior, horizontal carbon inlays, decent plastics all around. Everything you touch is beautiful. Although I must say, in the Q5, a little bit of hard plastic on the dash, on the top of the door line here, and there is a bit of a feeling of built to price, particularly on some of the lower models. In front of me, we have this unbelievable virtual instrument cluster, which Audi do so well. Google mapping right in your line of sight. There's no other car on the market that provides that. Unfortunately, it's not standard across the range as it is on the Audi A5 range, which we drove recently. Now look, I would use up your monthly data plan explaining the intelligence that has gone into the second generation of the Quattro system, Quattro Ultra, they like to call it. It basically has the ability to predict traction loss or a whole range of scenarios which are built into the various sensors and computer systems, enabling it to engage four-wheel drive when it needs it, but before it needs it. Basically, it can think half a second ahead of time, and then within 0.2 of a second, engage four-wheel drive, and you just cannot detect that whatsoever. In fact, there's an app that we've been using that shows you how many times the four-wheel drive system is actually in two-wheel drive mode. This is all about delivering efficiency, because obviously, when you're in four-wheel drive mode, you're using a lot more fuel. In two-wheel drive mode, using less fuel. But the key is they've stopped the rear components, the rear prop, from spinning on the all-wheel drive system, which is a feat in itself. And it's basically all about a whole range of new and sophisticated clutch systems, and there'll be more detail in my written review. As usual, you've got a whole range of different drive select modes, which give you dynamic, comfort, auto, efficiency. I like to keep it in auto. That seems to be the best balance. Dynamic can be a little bit firm, particularly on some of these B roads we've been driving on. And in general, there's a little bit of road noise creeping into the cabin, which is very un-Audi-like. That's often to do with the low profile nature of the wheels. 8-speed automatic on this particular SQ5 model, phenomenal. I mean, it's just seamless. It's one of those ZF German transmissions which you can't go wrong with. Lightning quick gear changes, always knows what gear to be in. You really don't ever have to use these paddle shifters. They're almost a bit of a gimmick. But if you're looking for a performance SUV that's reasonably priced, I must say, I mean, you can pick one of these up for about 110,000. It's hard to go past this Audi Q5. It's not quite the same size as a Q7. It's obviously a little bit bigger than a Q3. Same size as the previous model, but they've managed to increase interior space as well. It's a very smart car, and it's very well put together. And the intelligence that has gone into it and the development, quite frankly, is astonishing. Now we have the usual MMI Audi navigation system here, a multimedia system, Apple CarPlay. A little bit annoying with Apple CarPlay that it's not touchscreen. BMW have a touchscreen, and you know, when you see the interface in terms of Apple CarPlay, you traditionally just want to touch the icons because that's what you do with your iPhone. So you don't have that ability, you have to twist the wheel here or use the pad. Look, it's a little bit complicated to use. It's hard to find where all the various menus are when you first get in. It takes a good couple of hours really to find out how you can modify and adjust things just to suit you perfectly. It's not as intuitive as some of the BMW systems, but then again, some of their features are very intelligent though. You can have a look here at the center console. They have this haptic touch where you don't actually have to push down on the button to see what it does. That's phenomenal. And even when it comes to turning on the interior lights, there's no button, you simply touch it. You can also adjust the dim the harder you push it. So look, clever touches, that's what Audi do. The interior is not quite as good as some of the interiors I've been experiencing recently on Audi, but they still have BMW covered. Now, having me stand in front of a car of this nature is almost offensive. It's a supermodel, it's a brilliant looking car, and it performs on a brilliant level as well. That intelligent Quattro system, which I took you through earlier, is phenomenal. And that's why this car is so dirty. We've been on a test drive that's covered over 1,000 kilometres from Melbourne through to Adelaide, all sorts of different types of road surfaces. Not once did I feel insecure or unsafe because of the systems that play, the computers that generate all that traction, and just the development that has gone into creating such a secure car, which, to be honest, makes you feel a little bit overconfident and a far better driver than what you may actually be. So for now, I'm Chris Bowen for EFTM, and I present to you the Audi SQ5.
This is EFTM, everything for the man.